Okay, lean in, settle down, come in close, and grab yourself a hot mug of mate, because you and I need to have a discussion about the nation of Uruguay. Yes, you heard that right, Uruguay. If you're not from South America, you would be forgiven if you were unable to even pinpoint Uruguay on a map. So I'm gonna help you out. It is this little nation right here, the one tucked in between Argentina and Brazil. And for several reasons, which I plan to speak about in this video, Uruguay has secretly assembled one of the most successful, prosperous, and happiest nations in the entire world. And if you couldn't tell, I absolutely loved spending a week there. My name is Josh, and I'm a digital nomad who lives in a different country every single month. Join me as we dive into the magic and the mysteries of Uruguay by visiting two of its most famous cities, the wealthy beach town of Punta del Este and the capital city of Montevideo. I'm not really sure how it's possible to scientifically measure happiness, and yet somehow people do it. Every single year, new reports come out detailing which countries around the world have the happiest populations. And we have to start there because in South America, it is Uruguay. Yeah, Uruguay. Not Brazil with its carnival and its samba dance parties. Not Argentina with its tango and its gorgeous Patagonian terrain. Nope. In most years, it is Uruguay that is named the happiest country in South America. In fact, in a survey from 2022, nearly half of all Uruguayan people, regardless of their age or gender or sexual orientation, described themselves as being very happy. Nearly half. And as crazy as that number seems, it really didn't take me very long after landing into Montevideo to figure out why. First and foremost, money. There is money in Uruguay, okay? Whoever said money doesn't bring you happiness was apparently lying. In addition to being the happiest nation in South America, it is also the most expensive country on the continent to live or to visit. And unlike over in the US, where the money mostly lives in the hands of a few billionaires, the thing about Uruguay is that, very broadly speaking, the money is much more spread around. Compared to every other nation in South America, Uruguay has quite a large middle class and comparatively low levels of poverty and extreme poverty. As a result, there is much less crime. It's actually a very safe nation overall. And you'll feel that if you choose to visit. You will feel very comfortable walking around Montevideo, despite the fact that it's a major capital city. The country is also, generally speaking, very open, very progressive. It was one of the first nations in the region to allow same-sex marriage and was, in fact, the very first nation on the entire planet to legalize the recreational use of cannabis for locals back in 2013. And perhaps most impressively, it's its climate policies that are making waves around the globe. At this moment, around 98%, 98% of Uruguay's power nationwide comes through renewable resources. It's proof that even a nation that is growing and becoming more and more economically stable does not have to sacrifice forward-thinking policies. Add all of this stuff together, and you get a whole bunch of happy people. And when people are feeling good, they have more time to enjoy themselves and to create. Beyond the financial situation, the people of Uruguay seem to have a strong appreciation for instituting work-life balance. It's sort of ingrained into the culture. In fact, in the old town center of Montevideo, one of the most popular tourist areas of the city, the high majority of sites close very early. My hotel was in this area and I had to make sure that I got dinner on time because by 8 or 9 o'clock, which is the time that dinner service honestly begins in most of South America, most places in Old Town were already closed. Most notably, the very famous food center, Mercado del Puerto, closes every day as early as 6 p.m. The food inside, however, is really amazing. In fact, be sure to subscribe because my next video is all about the food in Montevideo, including one of the best meals I ever had right here in this building. But the thing is that you have to go for lunch. Now, there are other reasons for this. The Old Town is the business and banking district. However, as a tourist, it's a little frustrating.
We want people available and serving us at every hour of the day, damn it.
All selfishness aside, you can see though why this country is happy. It just makes sense. When people aren't so stressed about money all the time, they in turn choose to use their time toward their passions, which for us humans usually means either making art or enjoying recreational activities. The artistry and recreation of Uruguay just blew me away. It was probably the biggest takeaway from my visit. Now, you'll see examples of this everywhere you go in Montevideo, but my favorites are actually closer to Punta del Este beach over in the east, which is where I had the opportunity to visit Casa Pueblo. This incredibly designed space is currently a museum, but it was formerly the home and the workspace of its architect, an artist named Carlos Payne. It is stunning, and it is just one example of the incredible appreciation for art found in Uruguay. Nearby, you can see the even more famous hand sculpture known simply as La Mano. It's at Punta del Este beach, and it was created by the Chilean artist Mario Irarrázaval. And of course, back in the capital city, Montevideo is just littered with museums. I went to 4 different museums during my week there, including Museo Joaquín Torres Garcia, which highlights the work of the man responsible for that super famous sketch of the upside-down version of South America. Now, of course, not everyone wants to make art. Other people choose to spend their free time with sports or relaxing at the beach. And many locals in Uruguay do just that. They spend their times in the evenings enjoying themselves and relaxing, and there is tons of that in Montevideo. Pusito Beach, the most famous beach in town, is easily accessible from many parts of the city. Even on an ordinary weekday, it was just loaded with people, mostly locals, playing sports and getting a tan, and overall just having a lovely evening. With all that, yeah, you can absolutely see why the people are happy. It starts with a better financial system, and combined with better work-life balance, people just generally lead happier lives. And truly, it was a beautiful thing to witness firsthand. Very few visitors come to Uruguay from North America and Europe, and I'm not totally sure how the people of Uruguay feel about this. Do they want more tourism, or are they content to continue to be the best kept secret of South America? In my experience, from the Uruguayans that I had the chance to speak with, they are very eager and excited to share their culture with the outside world. For a long time, they've sort of been undermined in tourism by their neighbors Brazil and Argentina. But you should know that they absolutely have their own culture and their own way of life. There are similarities, sure, especially with Argentina, but if you actually visit for yourself, you'll have the chance to sort of dive into the nuance of it all. The different ways of speaking, the different energy from the people. And without a doubt, there is that happiness. And all of that joy sort of rubs off on you as the visitor. So yes, go to Uruguay. Look, I'll even make the planning easier for you. Take a trip to Buenos Aires, sure, but then just take the ferry over. It's super easy. Spend a couple days in Colonia and Montevideo and just feel it out for yourself. If I'm being honest, Uruguay seems to have it all figured out, and we should all be taking lessons from the way that they are running their country. I love Uruguay, but I also love you. Wow, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, drop a comment to say hi. I always try to respond to the nice ones. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. This is another video that YouTube thinks you are really gonna like. I hope you give it a try next.